Hey there Facebook, it is Vanessa here again, your motivational speaker, trainer and head coach from Live, Love, Give. And today's message, I was actually going to do this other one for you, which was talking into the different steps that you need to take in order to be really intentional in your relationships. But ultimately, I just got off an amazing coaching session with a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful client of mine. And she really inspired me to deliver today's message to you guys and kind of change it up. And it's really based on the power struggles in our relationships and ultimately how your inner child, which every single one of us walking the face of the planet, we all have an inner child who actually never really goes away. But that inner child is actually the culprit for the power struggles that you experience in your relationships. And this beautiful client of mine, she was willing to, admit and acknowledge that every relationship that she'd been a part of had this kind of dynamic, this kind of power struggle be at play. And I think if we're all honest with ourselves, then we've all experienced that kind of power struggle in our relationships, in one or more of our relationships, if not all. And that's what I really wanted to talk into with you guys today, because I think that when we can understand what's going on, what's at play, that actually empowers us to make shifts, changes, transformations so that we can ultimately get away from the things that bring us down and limit our potential and ultimately step forth into a new potentiality of what is way more inspiring and enticing to us. And I feel like I've been talking into relationships a lot lately, particularly over this last week, but it seems to be coming up. So I'm hoping that it's definitely really valuable to you guys. But ultimately what we got caught in talking about and what I was explaining to her was that every single one of us, we've always had that inner child. And when we're born, we're kind of a child with an inner child that never goes away. But what happens is, when we go through our lives and our life stages, ultimately we're a child with an inner child, and we look to have a basic need that every single one of us has is the need for safety, security, certainty. And that is the foundational piece that we all require so that we can continue to grow, progress in our lives. And we always have that need, that foundational need, the basic needs of that, survival, security, comfort, safety, and certainty. And if we're lucky enough to have parents, then they become, those guardians for us that create the environment of safety, security, and that foundational piece so that we as children can continue to grow and develop and become adults. But not all of us are that lucky that we've had that safety and security created in our lives. But also, so that can oftentimes stunt our growth and stunt, that environment where we as children have to step up and become like adults and create our own safety at such a young age, and it can kind of not work out to our favor. But without going too far down that track, I want to just get the idea for today's message is to get you thinking about how we start our lives as children with an inner child still, and we need safety and security to grow and develop. And ultimately, if everything goes right, what we're really trying to do is grow our conscious level. That child, grows into adolescence, grows into adulthood, and we become our own guardian, where we create our own safe environment, our own security, certainty, and centeredness. But what happens is, throughout our journey, as we're trying to develop to become our own guardians, and that's where we can go through those rebellious stages and so forth as part of the journey of developing ourselves. What happens is a lot of the time we end up continuing to be two children, like a child with an inner child, and it's looking to outsource its leadership. It's looking for somebody in the external to create that safety net for us, to create that safe zone. And I know personally, that's how I used to run all of my relationships. relationships. I was always looking for that partner who could be that leader, who could be that leader in my life, who could create an environment of safety and security that I would feel fully able to be all of who I am, express all of who I am. And what happened for me was I was like in this relationship, and then it just, hey, they're not creating the safety and the security that I need in order to be all of who I am with this person. So they're not the one for me. I'll jump to this next relationship. And that went on a few different relationships until I finally got to a point of self-realization that I was the common denominator in those relationships not working out. And it was only when I reached that place that I was able to recognize I have to be my own leader. I have to step forth and grow this child that I am. I have to grow it into my own guardian, because I go wherever I go with myself, So I need to bring that safety, security, certainty from a loving, strong, centered place within me before I'm ever going to be able to experience it. Nobody else in the external can give that to me. And what happens in our relationship dynamics is we attract our reciprocal. So, me being a child with an inner child, it's like two kids like trying to look out for each other. I'm trying to seek safety, security, and somebody to be the leader, somebody to be the guardian, the adult in my external world. I fall into a relationship, and of course I've attracted another child with an inner child, and now we've got 4 children working together, and maybe, it's like, there's safety in numbers, right? So it feels more safe to be with another person, so we've got these 2 children with their inner children going on, and at least it feels more safe than just if me alone with my own inner child. And so what happens is, though, 4 children alone, although it might feel safer, there's still going to be this like underlying current of just like this lack of security, lack of safety, lack of adult being present who's kind of being the leader and guiding, the direction of where we're going. And so what happens is whenever we feel unsafe, uncertain, we don't have that basic level met, then we go to power struggles. So there might be, we kind of end up parenting each other in this weird way, like one stays the child and the other becomes the parent. And it's this battle between control and lack of freedom experienced. And it never kind of plays out right. It feels like it's always you against me, and we're in this constant like needy tug of war. And, it's like we might have like glimpses of like, oh, this feels kind of good and I really like who you are and all this sort of stuff. But ultimately there's just like always this underlying current of just not quite feeling safe or secure enough to really unleash and be all of who we are. And so this is the kind of dynamic at play where we're trying so hard to outsource our leadership, outsource our security and our certainty and our safety, that we end up attracting somebody just like us, and it becomes this massive power struggle. And then we end up pushing each other into like these parental roles and these childlike not being able to do anything roles, and it's just unhealthy. And we never really get to the true depths of connection in our relationships until, and I'm saying until, we recognize and we take full responsibility for our own safety and security, and that foundational piece that each and every one of us requires in order to create anything like structurally sound and ultimately extraordinary with somebody else. And so when we get to that point of realization, if we've got the courage to acknowledge that we've been operating as a child with an inner child who we totally feel out of sync and so insecure, when we finally admit and acknowledge that and recognize that only we can create the kind of environment that we are fully able to be all of who we are and be truly authentic, open, expressive, and moving in the right direction, until we take ownership of that foundational piece, we're never going to move ahead. We're going to be constantly in these relationships of power struggle and it's going to be such a distraction from your potential that you're never really going to feel fulfilled. You never really feel like you're progressing or moving forward or tapping into that inner peace that's telling you you've got so much more to live, give, get, and experience, And so ultimately, when we take full responsibility and go on the journey of becoming our own guardian, creating our own level of safety, security, and that foundational piece, from that place, we can create something truly extraordinary, because we're no longer outsourcing the stuff that actually matters. We are ultimately taking full ownership of that so that we can be strong, centered, loving beings who want only the best for the people that we're in relationship with. We're not in competition, we're in collaboration, and we won't settle for anything less than our best from that place. Whereas when you stay stuck and limited in that power struggle kind of relationship where you're constantly trying to outsource, there's somebody else to take responsibility in your life, then ultimately, that place is just, you never really experience the full depths of connection and love and life until you can break free of that and take ownership of your responsibility to create your own safe environment that you take with you wherever you go. And that child that's been hanging out with the inner child becomes the guardian, becomes the adult. And all of a sudden, your inner child feels safe and secure because it knows that it trusts you, because finally, you are listening to it. You are taking care of it. You are protecting it. You are guiding it in the right direction. It can relax and release, and not have to be in this survival mode and tug of war. It trusts you, and it knows that you're taking care of it. You are leading the way, and that is where you get to a real state of calmness, centeredness, strength, inner strength and love. And that is the place that you can really give to another. That is the place that until you reach it, you never really experience what love really is. You never really get to access your potential and really feel like you're progressing in your life. Otherwise you're constantly in this confusion and this power struggle in all areas of your life. So I am super hopeful that today's message is resonating with you guys. I hope it's got you thinking about, how are you showing up in your life? Are you being the child with the inner child? I know I really relate to that, or are you, now building some awareness around that and stepping forth and developing your guardian and no longer outsourcing your own leadership and your own security and safety, which is the foundational piece for you accessing a new level of your potential in life and in love. And I'm hoping that today's message is really inspiring you to step it up in all areas and take ownership, take responsibility, because so many children, when we're operating in that realm of being the child, we think that if we take responsibility, it will impede on our freedom. And that is the very belief that keeps us all stuck and limited in that power struggle. And it's just such an unhealthy dynamic. But ultimately, when you step forth and you finally take responsibility for your own life, and your own safety zone to be all of who you are without holding back, that is where you access all of your freedom, true freedom. There is nothing more freeing than knowing who you are and operating in full alignment of that despite your external forces and sources. So hope that this is valuable to you guys. Hope it's resonating. I definitely want to check in with each and every one of you guys who have been able to join me. I so appreciate you guys. If you have any questions or comments or feedback, let me know in the comments and I will engage right here, right now. And before I dive in, another reminder, like I do every single day, I want to make sure that every single one of you beautiful human beings is a part of the Limitless Potential Inner Circle Facebook community. It is an amazing place of like minds who are growing and really wanting to contribute to your life. They want to share their experiences with you. They want to hear your experiences. We can give each other so much value in perspective that when you're in it, it's sometimes so hard to see what the right path forward is. And that is the environment that we are creating over there. I think we're nearly up to 2,000 incredible human beings in there, and I want you guys to all be a part of it. So please click on the link above and join us. Request access. I'll accept you in. You'll be a part of it, and it's a beautiful place to be. So make sure that you do that. And I am so going to check in with you guys now. Super excited to see who's been able to join me. And I've got Susan and Lucy and Frank and Hassani and Aaron and Romani and Stephen and Ricky and Jeremy and Jason and Rian and Jim and Mercedes is back and William and Peter and Bitu and Michael and Dennis and Tumas and Maroon and Akka and Mitchell and Saprit and Rashad and Yezed and Bobby and Michael and Hosin and Lewis and Andrew and Marlon and Charlotte and Ty and Greg's back. I love it. And Gabrielle and Melissa. Awesome. And nice to see you too, Greg. And Jacqueline and Lucy's here. Love it. And Syed. Good to see you, and I love having you here, and each and every one of you guys. I absolutely love you guys. Keep coming back every day. You guys are such an inspiration to me, so thank you so much. And David's here, and Tara. This is what I needed right now. Oh, how the stars align. Thanks, Vanessa. Oh, I'm super grateful to hear that this message is reaching you at a point when you need it, Tara. Thanks so much for letting me know. And David, leadership, ownership is scary, but no one will lead you to success except for you. Successful people own the path they take. That takes some growing pains. This is a very interesting topic you shared. Absolutely, David. I completely resonate with what you said there. But remember what I said, we think that it's so scary to take ownership and, be a leader in our lives. But ultimately that is the place of freedom. And, when you can get to that place and have enough courage to take the steps forth in terms of being your own leader, you reflect back on your life, and that's what's really scary. That's where you really start to see the patterns of entrapment that you were creating for yourself. And whoa, you never want to go back to that place, because you finally accessed a sense of true freedom in your own life. And so I really want to inspire and encourage each and every one of you guys out there who is thinking taking your own leadership and responsibility is scary. Believe me, you will get to a point where you recognize how much more scary it is to stay where you are currently, but have the courage to take the first steps. Absolutely, David. So appreciate you. And I've got Paul's here, awesome, and Eva, and Fazia, and Hosen, and Paul. All your messages lately have been very meaningful and relevant for me, Vanessa. Keep living your truth. You're an inspiration. Paul, you've absolutely touched my heart. I love seeing you join, and thank you so much for your kind words. You are super appreciated. You are an amazing human being. I love that I've been able to get to meet and connect with you. And Hosen, you're so welcome. And Andrew's here, and Mercedes, you're so welcome. I appreciate you showing up every day, Mercedes. Thanks so much. And Jay's here, and Peter, awesome, and Tony, and Hosen. Hope I'm saying your name right. Excuse me if it's wrong. I tend to get your names wrong, so sorry about that. Leaders are also followers when they follow other leaders. Yeah, and I think that's the gift, that we need to remain open. True leadership is a place of complete open-mindedness. It has a complete willingness to shift its belief systems if something, more empowering comes in front of it. It's open. It's not trying to be a leader who's better than or bigger than or closed off from anybody else, thinks it's the best. True leadership is being completely open-minded and values everything coming into play in a willingness to shift and change if something more empowering enters its arena. So I love that, and appreciate your comments there, Hosen. And Mandy and Christelle and Vonnie and Kim and Michael and Ramon. Awesome, guys. I so appreciate each and every one of you for joining me today. I really hope that today's message has got you thinking about this area of relationships, and definitely, tapping into what's really more empowering and what's going on in terms of those power struggles in our relationships. Michael telling me to slow down. I'm sorry, Michael. When I get on a roll, I get into flow and I find it really hard to slow down, but I will definitely take that on board and see if I can be more mindful in terms of making sure that I'm not going too fast that you guys are like, what the hell did she just say? So I appreciate you, Michael, and Chase, and Marlis and JP. Okay, I'm not sure what you guys are on about there. Mark, your accent is straight from the heavens. Oh, I'm grateful to hear that. Thank you so much, guys. I am sending you all of my love, light, blessings, gratitude, energy, enthusiasm, everything extraordinary coming to you to wherever you are in the world today. I'm sending you all of my love. I'm so appreciative to each and every one of you guys out there. I hope you're having a rockin' day wherever you are or night, and I cannot wait to see you guys tomorrow. Like I said before, if you haven't already, you better come on over and join us in the Limitless Potential Inner Circle Facebook community. We are waiting for you, so come on over and join us. Sending you so much love and see you guys tomorrow.